This is a 1946 Globe Swift. The Globe Swift was manufactured between 1946 and 1951. They made 1,503 of them. There's about 300 still flying in the world. This Swift is, I would say, somewhere in the middle of the pack in terms of quality, but it's typical. It's got several modifications. And this plane was way ahead of its time. It was all aluminum. It's one of the first planes to have retractable gear, the tailwheel configuration, and it was designed to be the executive transport for a successful executive right after World War II, 1946. This year was first year of manufacture. Serial number is 1493. I have a Continental IO360 motor on this aircraft, and it cruises at about 180 miles per hour. And it's a great little aircraft for getting two guys around with a big smile on their face. This aircraft has some handling characteristics that a very experienced pilot thinks he might be able to deal with, but I recommend you get a check out in a Swift, especially if you got a lot of time in tail draggers, because you don't fly this plane exactly like you fly the rest of them. So it's a little squirrely on the ground. It has a pretty well-deserved reputation for, but once it's in the air, it handles like a dream. It's very, very sensitive on the controls, a real pilot's airplane, a very fast roll rate, very, very fun to fly. In terms of performance, it's really a function of the engine you have. I have the big six-cylinder IO360 Continental, and with this, I'll probably get around 8 gallons per hour, cruising at about 145 knots, and basically you need about 2,000 feet to take off and land. It's a pretty solid aircraft, and once you learn its unique handling characteristics, it's a pleasure to fly. Every Swift is kind of unique in terms of performance. This particular Swift has about 40 gallons in its tanks, and I like the flight plan with a healthy reserve. So I fly about 3 hours. Again, there's no bathroom, so you really have to stop about every 3 hours. And I flew it from Alaska over a period of several months, and this flight in total to Colombia took me about 54 hours, with stops every 3 hours, so 15, 20 stops. And it was a lot of fun. Not very practical, but again, this plane is not about being practical. This plane is about enjoying life and loving aviation. So I encourage anybody who wants to experience to come out, take a flight with me, again, and do some good for one of the local charities here in Medellin. Yeah, it's really a pleasure to offer flights in this aircraft. Again, this aircraft is very special, and we Swift owners love to share this experience of flying this unique classic aircraft with anybody who wants to take a flight. So we've had an affiliation in my business for some time with an orphanage, which is known as El Hogar de San Jose in Sabineta. And I've done some volunteer work for them in the past, and I thought it would be fun to offer flights in this aircraft to anybody that'd like to participate. So we have a flight of 30 minutes or a flight of an hour. Again, I'm a flight instructor, so if we have a pilot out there who really wants to add a unique airplane to his logbook, we can make that happen as an official flight. Or if someone just wants to have an adventure, they can really enjoy themselves in an aircraft like this. I really admire and have a lot of respect for Colombian pilots, because even though I'm from Alaska and I've flown in a lot of different varying conditions, I really respect the pilot who can survive this long with this kind of terrain, these kind of winds, and these kind of conditions. Even tougher is some of the bureaucracies that you have to go through. So I really admire your perseverance. Anyone that owns an airplane and flies it in Colombia really wants to fly. So clearly, this airfare that we have here, this wonderful airfare we have in Medellin, is an example of how starved Colombians are for aviation, and we need more of it. But I think we somehow need to figure out a way to streamline the rules so more foreigners can bring their planes into the country and be able to enjoy them in the country to bolster the economy and do all the other great things that aviation does. That said, in comparison to other shows, I've been to Oshkosh and EAA's adventure all over the world, and different events, different air shows, and I think this is one of the best I've seen in terms of the setup. The obviously enthusiasm for aviation here is very contagious, and again, my hat's off to all the organizers of this event for doing a superb job.